why I left Oregon, why I left Texas, why I'm in Colorado, why I am what I am. How simply can I say this? So I believe that you learn things through your personal life experience. And if you stay in the same place your whole life, you're stuck. You're stuck. You don't grow. If you stay in the same relationships, if you stay in the same job, if you stay in the same TV studio, if you keep talking to the same audience, you don't grow. I want to grow. I want to evolve. I know that my life experience is not about saving the world, but about becoming a better human being and sharing information about things I'm learning. But certainly, it's something that's very much individual, part of the individual shift in consciousness instead of the collective one. So, I know that there's a lot of experience out there waiting for me. And I think sometimes the universe works in mysterious ways. Yeah, I think that we create our own reality, but to a certain degree, I think we have our own destiny. I think we have our own karma. I think there's things that we, as independent beings, as unique souls, there may be things in our charts, in our stars, to experience. I certainly think that about my life. So, a lot of people are still like, well, why'd you leave Portland? We just don't understand. Well, my response is Portland's not an island. A lot of the issues that are affecting the whole world are very much, you can see them in Portland, Oregon. In some ways, you see them more than other places, but it is a beautiful place. And I think that's what is really magical about Portland, more so than the people. It's nature, it's the mountains, it's the water, it's the ocean. And I think that creative energy that people are drawn to is a response to the beautiful environment that is around Portland, Oregon. Portland, Oregon being an ancient forest, although it's a major city right now. But after 32 years of living in the same city, actually, I think I left when I was, let's see, I turned 32 in Texas, so I was 31 when I left Portland. I know that my goal has been alternative media, get the word out, have a spiritual experience, even though I'm having a human experience. It's not to be roaming from couch to couch to couch, from job to job to job, from roommate experience to roommate experience. And a lot of living in Portland was that. And that's okay because it's a part of the experience, part of the learning. But it's like I never stopped moving, and I still haven't stopped moving, but I felt like it was time to feel what things are like elsewhere. And I also feel like it's not because of Portland that I am the way that I am. I think some people think that, oh, I'm just a Portlander. That's it. No, I'm Alex Ansary. I'm very different than a lot of Portlanders. So when you realize that the world is meant to be experienced and traveled, and we are meant to talk to people all over the world, understand different cultures, have these experiences, and from that point of observation, you might see a benefit to living an experience other than just traveling around and traveling around and traveling around. Now, I think there's a lot of great people in Portland. But there's also a lot of very angry people in Portland that are very egotistical about how great it is there. And if somehow you leave Portland, you're now some sort of a traitor, especially if you go to a place like Texas. And I realized there was a lot of that negative energy that I felt after leaving Portland. It was almost territorial. It was almost like I left a spouse or something. And many of these are people that I've never met before that somehow feel like because my physical body is no longer in Portland that I've hurt them in some way. And yet, these are people, again, that for the most part, I had never met in my life. And so, the very fact they can watch my YouTubes, the very fact they can watch whatever listen to whatever I'm saying, or read my Facebook posts, it isn't any different than my experience living in Portland, where they were experiencing the reality of Alex Ansary through also computers then. So, I think Portland's a beautiful place. It's an interesting place, but, after the economic things I was going through, not being able to find a place, and even though, golly gee whiz, uh, after 6, 7 years of doing a regular show on Access TV on a weekly basis, when you're homeless and you're like a monk going, okay, I completely renounce material things. I am on this path, and I'm going to stay on this path, but I'm not going back to restaurant work or getting back in line. I'm meant to be doing this. And people don't help you out. I took it as a sign that it was time to move on, a time to move on to other things, nothing to be angry about, nothing to be resentful about, but a sign that it was time to move on to other experiences. And I experienced and saw all these doors shutting. You know, I opened up a survival store and got the short end of the stick because I didn't actually have a written agreement with the people that I chose to be my business partners. And then when I realized they were only in it for the money, and I spent all this time and all this energy helping them start a store in Portland, Oregon, called the Portland Preparedness Center, then I realized, whoa, maybe the wind is turning. Maybe I should be getting outside of Portland before these great changes that I'm talking so much about on my Access TV show. Be they, you know, the effects of a solar flare upon the population, or perhaps something larger involving China or Russia, if in fact we do see World War III come to American soil, which I think is very, very likely. And we look at the proximity of Portland to the ocean, only 60 miles away. And I know people think that Portland's an island and it's like utopia and this, that, and the other. But you know, I really felt that Portland does need its chakras cleaned out. You know, and there's a lot of beautiful, creative people there as well. There's also a lot of people in Portland that have just come to take and feed off of nature. And so the last 6 months of 2011, well, actually between March and September, so that's 6 months. I lived most of that time, a good chunk of that time, at least towards the tail end of the summer, in Estacada, Oregon. My break from Portland. That was my way of getting out in nature. But Estacada was kind of a creepy town. I didn't really find the solitude that I wanted. Came back to Portland for a little bit, stayed in my friend's backyard for about 2 weeks, and a guy from Dallas, Texas, and again, I left the survival store in February. So I'm sitting there talking to a guy in late August or September of 2011. Guy from Texas asked me if I want to help him start his own alternative media company in Dallas, Texas. Okay, so we're halfway through the video, 7 minutes in. We talked about why I left Portland, doors closing, economic issues, feeling like, you know, I wasn't appreciated in my own hometown. I'm homeless. I'm not want to go back into the rat race. Then all of a sudden I get a phone call. Somebody wants me to help him start his own network. Now you have a part of the puzzle. Why did I leave Portland? But it was more like I felt like I was leaving for something larger. It wasn't necessarily for this experience in Dallas, because nothing, as I've been telling people as they contact me through Facebook and instant messaging, are you going to be there forever? Did you move there forever? People that are in this permanent state of mindset where nothing, it's like a Buddhist principle, nothing in this universe is permanent. Everything is in constant change. And I am aligned with that universal truth. And I, in my own life, was with going through constant change. So people are trying to, where are you now? Where are you going? What's going on? I'm like, why are you asking? How about just listen to the message as it is that's being presented in the moment and just be grateful for it? Another perspective in a crazy, crazy world. Just another voice. Don't take it too seriously. They'll try to find out where I am, or hold me down, hold on my energy, take a bite out of me. You know, just embrace the fact there's another person out there that's different. It's not a part of the New World Order that's just trying to help you out. So I embrace this help from Dallas and see this man as good, and he's against the Federal Reserve, and he's against these New World Order kingpins, and you know, we're very, very different on a lot of different ways. But I come down to help him out, and I have been there the last year. I got a very strong feeling that it was time to leave months ago, but you know, things really came to fruition to push the moving reality forward several weeks ago, and now I'm in Colorado. But in the last years, and why did I leave Texas? You know, Dallas, Texas was one of the worst cities I have ever lived in my life. There's not a whole lot of ways I want to articulate that truth, but truth be known, I am a single man, and you know, I do like the conscious ladies, do like the earth chicks. I'm not really into the hybrids, you know, like the demon, like, ah, you know, Cliff Richards. She's just a devil woman with evil on her mind. That's Dallas, Texas. Freak show town. I don't know whether it's the fluoride in the water, the fracking going on, or if there's some demonic black magic stuff going on with all the pyramid-shaped buildings, but it was just gratuitous, nasty, greedy. It was a really strange reality living in Dallas, Texas. So, having said all of that, I'm giving you a snapshot into how that also wasn't the place for someone like me, because the attempts at getting Alternative Media Network going were less than fruitful, because, and I'm going to be very polite here, and just leave it at this. We had a very strong difference of opinion. Me and this gentleman that wanted to start Alternative Media Network. It's actually .tv. Some of those issues were about how much would we charge the customers. He wanted a certain amount that I believed was too high. It was a similar theme to that which I experienced at the survival store. Me helping other people with their projects and then feeling somehow that our visions weren't merging because I did not have that same type of dollar sign in the eyes mentality. And I feel it's unfortunate because both the Survival Center financiers and this particular individual have enough capital to help a whole lot of people out of the goodness of their heart while making money at the same time. They can have their cake and eat it too, but they are not exactly in that mindset, and that's why I stepped away from the Survival Center. Plus, I wasn't willing to take the abuse from some of the people I was working with there. Certainly not something Alex Hanser should be putting up with. But moving back to the story in Dallas, there were things that I won't talk about in this video that I did go through that I would call extremely unprofessional, involving things that I just don't need to talk about. But it's these experiences that you go through in this life that make you very, very humble. That make you go, well, why did I learn this? Why did I go through this? What does this mean? This can't be an accident. There must be a higher design behind this to refine me into being something higher than I am right now. To become even more grateful moment to moment for the food that I eat, the air that I breathe, the water that I drink, the roof over my head. And I am very, very grateful. As I am very grateful to this individual to be that catalyst. Thank you, sir, in Dallas, to be that catalyst that got me moving, my energy moving out of Portland. And maybe he was just there to serve his purpose, which was to get me out of Portland, Oregon for the coming changes, which I've spoken so much about without apologies. The things I see coming with China and many, many other things, other potential natural events coming to the Pacific Northwest. So it's been a journey. I believe everything happens for a reason. I believe you grow by moving, by changing, by willing to take risks. Of course, I left all my physical belongings in Portland, Oregon. You all know how very much I was involved in survival videos and not really become an extremist or fanatic myself, but just putting out information out there and urging people to have food storage and get prepared. But I also have always had a faith in a creator more powerful than myself, leading me along the way to these interesting experiences with these very interesting individuals, and somehow or another the universe has always had my back, and that has been a great asset. Just knowing that just gives it more power. So I left my food supply in Portland, my grab-and-go pack, all my other things, even my family photo album, many other things that I held dear, all my colloidal silver, all types of natural supplements, and I literally just started over. And you know, that's what I'm doing now in Colorado. You know, I've lived in Portland my whole life, then I went to Texas, now I'm in Colorado. I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. I don't know how I'm going to feed myself in the coming months once my money runs out. You know, I certainly don't want to be a beggar here on YouTube asking people to contribute, but I feel a destiny, and I don't know how much time we have left before the king of all solar flares or the end of the U.S. economy as we know it, but I feel an optimism, a certain optimism, and even some could say a glow within myself, my spirit being raised to a certain degree. Maybe it's the change of elevation or the environment, but I don't worry about certain things because I don't think that I have to. I don't think that I have to worry about certain things that other people spend a whole lot of time worrying about because I'm on the right path. And I can go now from Colorado, I can go to Nebraska, I can go to Idaho. I will find a way to get myself there. But I have now answered the question as to why I have left Portland and I have left Dallas. There's more to life to live. A guy like me has got to experience a lot of things on this earth because I'm not normal. A lot of you know that. I'm not normal. I'm not crazy. You might think I am, or that I'm a little eccentric, or I get a little intense, or I get a little excited. And I think that's a good thing, though, to be different in that kind of a way. To be intense, to be excited, to be enthusiastic, to be idealistic, to think big. Because we need to think big and think with large ideas because we live in the age where many ideas have now arrived at a time where standing armies can't keep them down because the time has come for them to be received by the people that can have the eyes to see and ears to hear.